The SIM CEO Dialogue is a signature event organized by the SIM Alumni Engagement Office. The platform started in 2012, whereby we started inviting alumni who are outstanding in their own fields, successful in their careers, doing well in their industry of choice, to come back to SIM to share their leadership insights, their industry stories, and more importantly, their experiences and tips for fellow alumni, students, and even some of our invited industry partners on current issues trending the economy. Well, this event is now, for the first time, going live in the region in the virtual mode. All the panelists we see here on your screen, we are all not gathered physically in one location, unlike past years. We are all in our own home cities. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce our esteemed panel for SIM CEO Dialogue 2020. First and foremost, of course, we have President and Chief Executive Officer for SIM, Mr. Sia Chin Siong. Mr. Sia, welcome. We also have from Vietnam, Mr. Hai Ho, our SIM UB graduate from 2008. Hai is co-founder and CEO of Trip Private Limited, as well as, I believe, the youngest vice chair of the Pacific Asia Travel Association. Welcome, Hai.
Hello, thank you.
And we also have from Malaysia, Mr. Leonard Lim. Leonard is our proud graduate from the UOL program 2013. Leonard is currently Managing Director, TKS Capital. Welcome, Leonard. Also, from Myanmar, all right, we have our graduate from RMIT 2010, Mr. Ten Min Woo. He's founding director, Meeson Partners, Myanmar Limited. Welcome, Ten.
Yeah. Hi, how are you all?
From China, right, we have Mr. Jay Zhang, who you notice is actually zooming in from his hotel room. He's actually on business. So, you know, he's kindly agreed to do this for us. Jay is, of course, the Regional Sales Director of Asset Management, Gosen Securities Company Limited. And he is our graduate from the UOL program 2008. Jay, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
And certainly, you know, from Indonesia, we have Mr. Dima Jani, right? Dima is also our graduate from the RMIT program 2008. He is currently CEO of Alami, which is an up-and-coming Islamic banking institution in Jakarta. Welcome, Pak Dima.
Thank you, Kongsen, for having me.
Right. This year's topic for the CEO Dialogue 2020, Industry 5.0, seizing the digital edge in a new digital age. Well, I think all of us have heard more than enough times that, you know, 2020 is a year of unprecedented times, and that has called for unprecedented measures from governments all over the world, not only to protect their citizens from the pandemic, but also to resuscitate and future-proof the economy, all right, going into the post-COVID-19 era. I think the news that has been reverberating, well, not this week, but last week, I guess, you know, has been the tumultuous outcome of the US presidential elections. And actually, the outcome is not out yet. I think, you know, President Trump is still trying very best to hold on to power. But that's another discussion for another day, not for tonight. But I think for this week, right, especially I think over the weekend, we heard that the largest trading economic bloc has been established, you know, through the RCEP, right, the Regional Cooperation for Economic Partnership signed between 15, all right, of the world's most vibrant economies, of which there's ASEAN, there is South Korea, there is China, Japan in there as well, New Zealand also, all very vital economies in Asia Pacific. I think these are all responses to what we are seeing for Industry 5.0. But then again, for those of you all who were here with me last year, I do see some of you all because I see familiar names amongst you all. We can't show everybody because we have about a 200 strong audience in the house tonight. I really apologize. We cannot show every one of your faces, but you are not forgotten because we do have an audience interaction segment later on for all of you. Okay. But for this year, we want to look at Industry 5.0. We want to do a little bit of forward-looking, future planning, and if possible, visioning at the future of work, and more importantly, the future of jobs in Industry 5.0 post-pandemic. All right. I think at this point, I would like to share with you, some infographics that might actually, give you a better idea of what we may be going through tonight. Well, on this first infographic, you see a transition, right, from what we call Industry 4.0, which very much dominated, the 2000s, all right, from probably 1999 all the way to 2000, 2010, 2012, 2015, Industry 4.0, okay, and going forward, all right, from now going forward, Industry 5.0, what is the main difference? You can see there, into Industry 5.0, it is no longer only focusing on connecting machines. In other words, just automation, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth, but also using all of that to focus on delivering a better customer experience. It is no longer about mass customization of product and services, but one of hyper customization for the market. It is no longer also about having an intelligent supply chain, but having what is more important, a responsive and a well-distributed supply chain that meets, all right, customized demands of the marketplace. It is no longer also about just harnessing IoT, AI, data analytics to develop smart products, but more of coming up with what we call experience activated products. In other words, how interactive, all right, are your products and services to the consumer, and then how relevant to the market. But more importantly, linked to jobs, all right, it is about no longer manpower, all right, being separate, from technology in the production line, but about how manpower, all right, human workers can now better harness and leverage on automation, on technology, all right, to create value added supply chains of goods and services to meet the customized needs and demands of the marketplace. This is where I want to show you the next set of infographics. Well, the earlier infographic was, of course, courtesy of Frost and Sullivan. This next set of infographics were actually from the Future of Job Survey 2020, released in spring this year, or rather in summer, by the World Economic Forum. Every year, the World Economic Forum produces and commissions a Future of Job Survey. All right. So this time around, for 2020, amongst the many areas, one of the key areas that they found out, all right, based on surveys of business leaders in the industries, big, small, medium, is that, one of how are businesses adapting in response to the pandemic. You see there, right at the top, right? That the acceleration of digitalization in the workplace, of work processes, okay? 84% of global employer survey says that this has been, one of the top, business adaptation strategies that they have had to go into because COVID came onto us in 2020. Next, providing more opportunities to work remotely, accelerating automation, accelerating the digitalization. This is interesting, of upskilling and reskilling. It is no longer enough just to say that, please, go and upskill and, take on a new skill set. It is about how faster, better, and customized we can be in doing so, in upskilling and reskilling. And what is the role of education institutions in all this? I think that's where later on you will hear from Mr. Sia. At this point, I promise you that we wanted tonight not only to be a dialogue, but also an interactive session with you, the audience. And this is where, all right, I'd like to bring you to our first two polls. We invite the audience to take part in and tell us. First, do you think your tertiary education experience has given you a digital edge to seize the opportunities in today's digital age? And second, do you all think that you have the competencies and skill sets for Industry 5.0? Audience, please cast your vote now. We welcome the panelists if you are keen enough to vote to also participate, all right? Because it's a democratic system we are all in. So every man and woman is entitled to vote. Okay? And now, all right, here are the results of your vote. Wow. This is what you, the 200 strong audience, have voted. About a third says that, yes, your education experience has given you that digital edge. Whereas another 1/3 says you are not so sure. The last 1/3 says no, that your education experience has not quite readied you for the digital age. And what about the follow-on question? Competencies and skill sets ready for Industry 0.5. More than half or close to half of you says that you are not sure, whereas 40% says that they are very sure they have. And I'm quite sure the 40% are all SIM graduates. Okay, but on a more serious note, we move on, all right, to the next set of infographics that might now give you, okay, some insight into what employers, right, of the Future of Job Survey 2020 told the World Economic Forum. What are the perceived skills and skill groups that will be in growing demand by 2025? That means for Industry 5.0. And they are critical thinking and analysis, problem solving, self-management, working with people, management and communication of activities in that descending order of relative importance. I thought we were talking about digitalization, right? And digital competencies and technologies for Industry 5.0, but this set of data actually tells us a very different thing. Is that not? Okay. I think at this point, right, we want to turn the attention now to our panel. Maybe can we invite, okay, Mr. Thia to kickstart the ball rolling and share with us why is there that discrepancy that how come employers are saying all these skills, but no one says you need to know data analytics, you need to know IoT, you need to know all of this tech stuff.
Thank you, Kong Soon. I think that's a very a good question, and I think it also points to something that the industry has kind of understood for quite some time. Why is it that the world is focused on technology? Because technology has a way of changing the way how work is done or how service is delivered. But skills, human skills, will have to focus on those that are different from what technology is doing. So it's not to say that technology skills are not important. It is. I mean, if you are someone who is really good in AI, deep tech skills, and you're known for it, oh yeah, it's important. But by and large, most organizations use technology. And technology usually is used to serve people. And in my conversations with many corporate leaders, employers, if you ask them a question, in your company, your top performers, your best employees, can you explain why they are very good? And most of the time, they will highlight soft skills, critical thinking skills, ability to work with people, adaptable. Oh, no AI, no data analytics. No, it's not that. It's you need to know how to use and apply that. But when you work in an organization, those soft skills become very important. And so it's quite an interesting. So when we say, give me your top 10 employees in finance, in HR, in sales, in operations, while this person is really driven, this person, really knows how to serve the customer. He can anticipate the needs. He can, anticipate things will come around the corner. So, what happens then, right? These are human capabilities. Technology will always be accelerating, it will always be changing. And it's important to understand the implications of technology. It's good to study them, it's good to know technology and how it can be applied. But in the grand scheme of things, in what's going to carry you forward are those soft skills actually over time that brings you forward. And when you fail or you come across obstacles, how do you react? How do you move forward? And that's why I think the stats are showing up that way. In fact, the leaders in this room here, you can ask them, where they are is because of their soft skills. I'm sure about that.
Thank you, Mrs. Yang. Well, I'm going to now give the time to Dima. Dima, your country is definitely the most populous in this part of Southeast Asia. Your thoughts, on the discrepancy between, employers' preference for soft skills over instead, somewhat digital competencies. Is there a discrepancy at all? And in your country, how is it like?
Sure. I think, again, I very agreeable with the point from Mr. Se and Kong Soon. And I think it also depends on the stage of each company. So basically, when you talk about early stage startup like us, I think we prefer to have a generalist first. And there is someone that has a very strong initiative, a problem solver, analytical thinking, and then logic for the most part. And to help us in growing the business forward, because being a very specialist, understand technology at a deeper level is probably, unless that the startup itself is focusing on a certain sector, it would be quite irrelevant for the growth of that startup. And once we go to scale, and I think these people with the deep expertise is needed. But then obviously, for us as well, like we're having a bit of a problem with someone that is very strong in tech, but have a difficulty in conveying the message. That's why typically in the IT department, we have business analysts and we have the CTO who understand the management as well as the expertise of each. So to summarize, in Indonesia, I think what the government is focusing with the new Minister of Education, Nadiem Makarim, coming up from the CEO of Gojek, is really to push on the analytical skills and problem solving skills for the young Indonesians, so that because we expect that we would have what we call the bonus demographic in 2045, where a lot of these millennials or even Gen Z and the alpha generation comes into the workplace, and things would be very different then. So with all of the fast changing technology, if it's not being balanced by the logical way of thinking, and it would be a complete disaster for us. So I guess that's the kind of goal of the government right now, is to push that critical thinking skills early on, and then develop on it going forward. So training the teachers as well be a big part of the Ministry of Education's agenda right now.
Thank you, Dima. Right? Could we also ask, Tin, how is it like, in Myanmar? I mean, you just concluded, I believe, your elections over the weekend also. So going forward, what are the outlook for the industry, and in view of that, what are the opportunities for jobs and the kind of job skills that
yeah, we just finished our elections, and we are very glad that the election has been over for very peacefully. So we're very glad that, and we just got the democracy for like 5 years. And the government has been controlled for like 5 years, another 5 years, and then we will take over the place. So I assume Daw San Suu Kyi is quite a transformation, very charismatic leader. So she will transform the country, but it will take times. It will take times to go on it. But we have been for like in a dictatorship for like over 20 years. So we have a little bit setbacks and, a lot of lack of facilities down there. So even I want to abroad and study at the Singapore, and then went back to my country and start doing the business. So it will be a lot of things to catch up with internationally. This is what I think.
Thank you, Tin. Maybe we want to ask Leonard and Hai also, right? In Malaysia and Vietnam, from your industry experiences, interactions, right? With business, with corporate, with private, and even government. What are the job skills or skill sets going forward that your country is in demand of? Maybe Leonard can go first.
Okay. Basically, Malaysia, we position as a trade country. So we can, from economic statistics, our country is made up 60% from the SMEs, and 60% of the SMEs are doing trade services. So basically, most of the companies are doing like sales, trading, and less manufacturing stuff. And then we can observe, what we observe from this COVID-19 pandemic is actually the SMEs is acting faster than the government, because they got more exposure to the international conditions, and they get themselves prepared, and they set a very good buffer for their own survival. And we can see they do a lot of self-protections for the company to stay vital during this pandemic. And from this situation, we can see that like the soft skills like forward-looking and open to international is, and also the analytics, business analytics skills are very much needed if you want to survive in today's business world. And then from my point of view, depends on which industry you are in. For example, like my industry, which is the investment banking side, since I graduated and joined in the investment bank, I can see a lot of our job scope is taken over by technology. For example, when I firstly joined CIMB Bank in Malaysia, we used to have more than 200 branches, and now they're closing down to less than 80 branches. and the banker tellers position is also cut down a lot. In my early time when I was in bank, there used to be 20 employees in each branches, but now they cut down to 8 people in each branch, no matter the size. So this is a very big transformation which I have seen over these years, and also the investment side of the investment banking side, because in the past when I was freshly joined in CIMB Investment Bank, we have a lot of financial analysts, but now the financial analyst team keep cutting down, and only like two major economists and leading a very small team of the very small team of the financial analysts to do the market research. And then a lot of the market research work can be taken over by technologies. And very surprisingly, Amazon Web Services are doing a very great job because from my own experience, we have been using a lot of all these web services to replicate a lot of analysts. So from my experience and point of view, no doubt soft skill like communication skills and all this is very important in certain industry, but I think that is not very so much in investment line. This is my part of sharing.
Thank you, Leonard. Hi, what's the situation like in Vietnam?
I think Vietnam right now, we are a little bit like coming behind country like Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. But right now, the government is trying to push a lot on the technology, but we still like, for example, Samsung is still accounting for 25% of our export GDP, so which is huge. And right now, we're trying to get more people like Apple to move their factory coming from China to Vietnam. So therefore, in our countries right now, we are pushing a lot more for engineer, hardware engineer, software engineer, that we would be able to make like a jump leap to catching up with other countries like Singapore. But I think one thing we have seen in the case of Vietnamese, we have been get used to not a really good living conditions. So we've been always trying to find ways to do a living. Most of the people at the office worker, at the government office worker, they will have 2 or 3 extra jobs selling online shops, taking advantage of all the digital e-commerce sites so that they can make an extra living. And also for even for when Airbnb or Uber came to the market, we are become the fastest growing country for Uber and Airbnb, where traditional people from the market, from even the middle age group of like 50 to 60 years old, they are learning all about this new technology, and they quickly become the master. Even for frontier technologies like blockchain or cryptocurrency, Vietnam is in the top 4 country on crypto trading. And these are the people from the middle age, like I think this is like your parent age, 50 to 60, the crypto investor. Just imagine how crazy it is. Even the millennial or the Gen Z, they want to invest, but they don't have the money. But the middle age is the one who take advantage of all of this new technology.
Thank you, Hai. Also, I think the audience, I shared with you that this will be an interactive virtual experience. Now, we welcome you to post any questions that you might want for our panelists in the Q&A tab right at the bottom of your screens. And I'll do my best to try to pick up the questions and direct them at the panelists that you wish to ask. We will now want to turn our attention, all right, to Jay. Jay, in China, you know, you guys almost got away with the world's biggest IPO launch, subscribed 34 times over, you know, right? Until they got stopped in its tracks by regulators. Now, is that a sign that you know, of the new industry 5.0 coming to China already? That, you know, investment funds are flowing in, the market capitalization is going astronomical, and necessarily, does that mean plentiful jobs for all our SIM students, both Singaporeans or PRC in China?
I think so. I think so. There are, but also we have to look at a population, especially the different segments of the population. Maybe jobs are shifting from one sector or a few sectors to some other sectors. There are more important skills to be leveraged on. So if you ask me, I totally agree with Mr. Xia's argument that soft skills are more important than hard skills. And I'm saying this based on the theory that all these hard skills are taught in school, like how to use computers, how to use all these tools. So I look at technology as knives. So most of us are not knife makers. We're not blacksmiths. So we use these tools. We can see ourselves as samurais. When we, in my job, for example, you think about fintech, you will think a year like this, when COVID-19 is ravaging the world, we would use online meetings more. It's true, we used online meetings more. I use online meetings plenty. We jump from platforms to platforms, Zoom, WeChat, different kind of tools we use, but still that personal touch is needed, especially in high-end markets. When you think about retail markets, when you want to try on a new shirt, a new dress, when we sell a financial product to our high-end customers, they want face-to-face interactions instead of just a virtual meeting. You think about it as online dating. You can't do online dating for 40 years, but you can get married to someone for 40 years. You can't do online meeting for 1 year, but you can definitely see somebody that you love, you like for an entire year, right? So for when we talked about Ant Financial IPO, it's true. People think about Ant Financial, Alibaba. You think about technology. You think about big data, how they use data to make people's lives better. But still, when you talk about financial sector in China, and I believe pretty much everywhere in the world, is most heavily regulated industry. We want to keep people's financial status as safe and healthy as possible. We keep on rolling out these new rules, what's so-called asset management new rules, basically to tell people we need to keep you safe. We need to set up safeguards to keep your assets safe. So in China, so many things are happening, so many things are changing, yet I believe communication, collaboration, and execution are still very important pretty much in every industry. You see some old industries, maybe manufacturing, are needing less people, needing fewer people. Some other industries are in need of more manpower. Even, let me give you another example, food delivery. In China, that's a huge market. Everybody use a phone to order food, takeout. When we finish our meeting, I can order takeout from an app, right, on my phone. But still, someone has to deliver it to the hotel. Even though this hotel has a robot to deliver that food up in the elevator to my floor and knock on my door. That's done by a robot. But still, you need a rider from the restaurant to pick up the food and deliver it to the hotel, right? So I see technology as a tool, and how we use that tool is pretty much personal touch. From a job like a food delivery driver or rider, all the way up to a financial product manager. So this is pretty much from the chain up. we all need technology, and technology are changing every industry. Yet this human touch is ever more stressed in every line. Food delivery guy gets rated by his customers, and our financial product managers are pretty much rated by customers' money. Customers' money goes to the best product, to the product that has the best service. So this is how we are experiencing this technology wave right now. And the Industry 5.0, as I see it, we're transforming into it smoothly yet fast. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. I think also every one of us have heard a lot of counter arguments against digitalization, economic transformation brought about by the pandemic, because primarily we see redundancy of jobs, right? We see, suddenly the brick and mortar business models are now being cast or being disrupted, right? That was a keyword for 2019, right? Disruption, all right? But then, what we are saying is that Industry 5.0 is still very much human-centric, right? It means, the human worker is at the heart of it all. In that context, how are our education institutions like SIM preparing, our students and graduates, and even helping our alumni to be on top of the situation, to be able to contribute to the development of 5.0, Industry 5.0 in their own respective countries. Mr. Sia, would you have some thoughts on that, please?
Yes, sure, Hong Soon. I think we have to recognize going forward that learning doesn't end when you finish a degree. In fact, getting a degree is the start. It's not the end anymore. What most people call, a shortened half-life, which means that the way, your career based on your qualifications will get shorter and shorter because things change so fast. And what most universities are grappling with is, what do we do? Because universities have a role today. They still have a role, and the role is to provide that education. But if you talk to a university professor, or the dean of the school, and they'll say, look, we provide the best curriculum. And we build a student to be a good citizen, a good adult. Of course, the skills should get them a job. Except that the industry is moving very fast. So it's getting further and further ahead. I mean, look at what Alibaba is doing, and look at how big N has become. The kind of technology and job roles that they have are quite different from the job roles of many other organizations. So what we are doing is we are working with frontier companies, whether it's Baidu or whether it's even some of the elite universities in China like Shanghai Jiao Tong or Harvard, not so much to get another degree, but to look at what we need to supplement the degree program, to supplement the undergraduate's knowledge and skills. And this could be short courses in terms of whether it's design thinking, leadership skills, skills that would augment on what they have learned in university, so that when they leave and graduate and leave, they are actually differentiated and they can better take on a job of these companies that would like to join, whether it's Facebook or a large big tech company or high-end services company and so on. So I'll give you an example, right? In one of the programs that we're running for students is a program called Polaris. And this program actually is for students to come on, and it's project-based, but the skills, the program is trying to teach them over 5 weeks is management consulting using McKinsey, strategy consulting firm. And in 5 days, you get to do a kind of project, and you get a couple of sessions with the consultants and academic, and run through with them what you've done, and they teach you what actually goes through, apply for all the knowledge you've accumulated, and how would you apply in real life business situations. And that's just one. But the important thing is that it's not just one, it is how fast can we continuously create custom design programs for our undergraduates to learn the way our executives are learning in their workplace today, to catch up fast. And if you've seen what Kong Soon said in the forest analysis just now, so one of the difference between Industry 5.0 and 4.0 is mass customization to hyper customization. Is we're going to have to hyper customize learning to the student, highly personalized. It is not, this is the general program, let's come and run this. Yes, you can do that as foundational learning in a university degree. But as you go forward, your skills, your profile, your preferences, your interests will shape what kind of courses and learning you need to keep going. In fact, if you ask yourself, where do most people learn? They learn at work. They learn the most at work after they graduate. And they realize that, oh, what actually applies and what doesn't apply. So I think in the higher education space in universities, we have to look at that. We have to look beyond the formal degree program, but hyper customized at speed programs that is closely matched to the industry's work for our students, and have them assimilate it within a 1, 2, or 3 month period at speed. And that would help to bridge the gap as we go on. That's what I think.
Thank you, Mr. Sia. And I think to add on to what Mr. Sia has shared, at SIM, we have also kept pace by launching this year in 2020 a center for micro credentials, where it is open numerous micro credential courses for our current students to take on. In 2021, I'm glad to say that we will be inviting alumni on board, to take part in some of all these micro-credential courses. So stay tuned on that. And also, I think just last week, in fact, last Thursday, if I believe, right, Mr. Sia was there alongside the Singapore Minister for Manpower to launch the Center for Systems Thinking, right, to develop, and to groom, all right, the new generation of industry leaders with this systems thinking skill set, okay, as we go into Industry 5.0. So these are all some of the exciting developments that Mr. Sia was alluding to, that SIM, and definitely we will be opening up these programs to alumni in 2021. So stay tuned on that. But now back to what we are saying, okay? This thing about the digital age, all right, to succeed in the new digital age. I still sense quite a fair bit of a hesitation and apprehension, if I may use those descriptives, from the interactions with not only graduating students, but even our mid-career alumni out there. And I know I see quite a number of them amongst our audience today. In fact, some of the questions that have been asked, all right, is that how does this concept of meeting customized demands, delivering customized products and services, balance off with the industrial notion of mass production? How can you possibly customize to every whim and fancy that every consumer in the market has? Maybe can I throw that question to our alumni business leaders in this session? Your thought, please.
I would like to volunteer.
Please, hi, go ahead.
Okay, actually, the reason why I volunteer is we just launched an e-commerce website 9 days ago. Uh, we are a travel company, okay, but we are, in order to survive through this pandemic, we are launching an e-commerce website that's selling print-on-demand T-shirt, and you can check it out on shopping.trip.me, trip with double I. On our platform, you can be able to select, for example, an SIM T-shirt. Then you can input your name, your year of graduations, even your UOL or UB or RMIT logo, and you pay the money. It got printed out somewhere, not China, Hong Kong. There is another fulfillment center in Europe, there's another one in Australia, in America. Then it got shipped to you. So that's the answer of how we can personalize fashions to every user around the world. And basically, that's what has been keeping us alive for the last 3 months, even though we are in the really tough industry. So basically, I think technology has been able to make sure that it can lower the costs of everything. So right now we have new machine that can print on demand with the supply from the ink that make it cheap. So every personalized T-shirt right now, the retail price about $25, but there will be another investor that coming in and say, hey, let's make it become $10. And there'll be another competitor coming in and say, let's make it $2 for a personalized T-shirt. So this is where technology coming in and trying to remove the human out of the equations, trying to instead of shipping through ship, maybe we can have like a drone that fly different zone, so that it make the cost to produce such a personalized product even lower.
Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
I would just like to
I
add.
can
We're talking about.
add on.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Diva.
go ahead.
You go.
Okay, sorry. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I think from my industry and fintech, we also trying to hyper personalize the approach in a way that, typically when we're talking about banks, in the traditional banks, when they look at the SME market or the micro market, they tend to have like a single approach to come to them. So most of the time, particularly in Indonesia, and I believe it's also all around the world, why bank have a lot of problem coming into the micro segment is because they don't have the personalized way to assess the credit assessment and using the alternative data, and to make it use the technology to make it seamless, so then they don't have to really spend a lot of OPEX when assess like each farmers when it comes to farmers, for example. So this is what the beautiful things also about technology is, the spirit of collaborations, the agility of such fintech startups to partner. So for example, for Alami, we're partnering up with a fishery IoT company in Indonesia and West Java, where they provide a solution, an IoT solution, in order to make the fish farmers to become more efficient in the production, so then they can have a better success rate in order to sell their fishes. And this IoT company is also opening up an access to financial inclusion, whereby we as a fintech, we're providing the working capital for these fish farmers using the API integration and the analysis per fish farmers. And then we connect them to our platform, and we show them to the retail lenders to see if anybody wants to finance this particular fish farmers as opposed to these fish farmers. Obviously, it's a function of the credit rating as well as the pricing. So creating to kind of opening up this space, make it tailored so that lenders would see, oh, there's an impact. I would always want to help small farmers, but in a very simple way and user-friendly way. So here it is. I guess the next generation of startups enabled by chip technology can make it happen. Of otherwise, bank can take years to come in for that. So we experience also at the end of the day, bank actually come to us to partner for them to channel their depositors' money to us to come into this particular segment. So I guess this hyper personalization is really key going forward in order not only for high engagement rate from the clients, but it's also opening up a segment where typically customers will not have an access to. So I guess that's from me. Thank you.
Jay, you had something to say just now also?
Oh yes, we're talking about a hyper personalization. Good. Just now, the two panelists already shared their country stories. What I see in China, my industry and outside my industry, is all happening. Whether you send your girlfriend or wife a gift, you can have that customized by MAC. You can a pair of Air Jordan sneakers, you can have that personalized. You can do that in the store, you can do that online. When we talk about travel industry, we just came out a new rule to stop traveling companies from price discriminations within China because they have so much data on one person. They know you're an old customer like me, who travel all the time, who travels all the time. They already know you have to travel, so they raise the price on this one person. That's very hyper personalization process, right? So in terms of financial sectors, we look at Ant IPO. That was the biggest IPO in China in our financial market history. What used to be the biggest IPOs? We look at PetroChina, right? That's gasoline company. What else was big? Banks. So is data the new oil in the next age? So we look at this, we think about technology, we think about data. Whichever company has the most data and knows how to analyze the data probably will win. When you look at banks, right now, just now we shared about banking sector, right? How they personalize this loan process for different fishermen, right? When we look at our industry, why Ant is so powerful? It has data points on a person for all aspects of his lives. We take subway trains using Alipay. We order food delivery using Alipay. Wherever I travel, I pull out QR codes and use in that city. So it knows all aspects of my life. So when it comes to a decision for personalized financial advices, guess who knows me better than I do? Probably that's where the company has the most data points on me. So, but again, when it comes to highly personalized services, human touch cannot be lost. You think about high-end suits, bespoke shirts. Guess what do you say? It's handmade, right? So that personalized touch cannot be lost. We don't want to just deal with machines all the time. We don't just want to talk to a computer all the time. You say technology is eliminating human power, manpower. Look at how many new branches we opened this year for my company. Customers want to talk to a real person. They want that personal touch. You say, oh, so many factories closed down in China. The factories has no work, or they replaced manpower with machines. But guess where all those workers went? Maybe food delivery, maybe some other industry that in need of manpower. So technology is good, it's a fantastic tool. It helps us make better decisions, yet it's transforming manpower from one industry to another industry. Just it's amazing, and it's a fast moving tool. Like I said, for a food delivery process to a hotel, it takes technology company to make the app, the rider deliver food from restaurant to the hotel, and a robot take the food up the elevator to my room for safety reasons. So it's amazing. You see all the supply chain, all the decision chain, all the data points from just one tap of the app. So it's just very amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Jay said. This is all also what I'm thinking. We cannot eat the processed food for a long time. We love home cook, right? How our moms or dads or our family cook for it. So we love doing this. So people are thinking about. I saw some questions that day, and they are thinking about that if there is a 5.0, there will be an employment rate and stuff. How they're gonna survive? What skill do we need to do? So the point is like this: for the industry 1.0, we started using steam machines. This is how we make a revolution. And then 2.0, it becomes like the electricity come, thanks to Edison for this. Later on, 3.0, the computer is come and change the world. And the 4.0, there will be IoT stuff, AI. 4.0 is quite complicated. But the thing 5.0, right, is coming down. For me, it's just a name. What I see is 4.5. There will be another technology that will come on the 5.0. It's just a name. You can name it like 5.0 right now, and it's become 5.0. If you name it later, it will become 6.0 or something. But what I saw some news and make some research. What will become on next 10 more years or 20 more years? This is the most we can expect on it. Other than that, we can't expect on it because the future is uncertainty. We can't expect too much. What we say, cobots, like I mentioned before, it's like cobots, collaborative robots. They will collab with the people and the machine together, make the customization for the customer. Because all the manufacturing process, what we has experienced before, is all about improving the lifestyle. How we gonna eat, how we gonna stay, how we gonna make a clothes or healthcare system. Everything is depends on is changing our lifestyle. Last time we do not have electricity. Now we have electricity. We have a computer. We have the internet. So IoT stuff there. So what I'm making a suggestion to the other people is like, okay, do whatever you want, but you should have also some technological background to improve your career or whatever you want to pursue your dream. This is what I see for 5.0. So do not worry about the unemployment rate and stuff, or maybe the AI will control us. It's too far away, too far away. It can't be like overnight, right?
Thank you, Ken, for those thoughts. Like I mentioned earlier, I think we welcome the audiences also to feel free to post us your questions, because unlike past CEO dialogues where we have a physical 45-minute Q&A session, we are now in a new digital age. So in a new digital age, we use technology to post and ask and answer questions on the fly. So I encourage you to feel free to post your questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens, or if you want to share this live session to anyone outside of SIM, please feel free to do so. We have gone live on Facebook, so we are really broadcasting this to the entire world out there now. Back to our panelists. There was this question that I presume would be asked by potentially either a graduating student or a young alumni. It says, when it comes to developing our own personal development plan, all right, how do we go about doing it? And should we develop on our soft skills first based on what we are hearing tonight? Or should we, also focus on the hard skills, i.e. the digital competencies, your IoT, AI, data analytics, RPA, and so on and so forth? Anyone, please feel free to jump in and answer.
Maybe I'll just jump in here, Kong Soon. So I think it's a common question. How do we prioritize what skills? I think what you realize is, as you kind of after you graduate, as you move on in your career, soft skills is always relevant. It doesn't matter where you are. I think it gets more and more relevant as you progress high up. If you are leading people, leadership skills, communication skills, ability to work with different types of people, sometimes cross-cultural. These are all skills that kind of allow you then to be able to bring your hard skills to the fore through that. Because if you can't work with your colleagues, it doesn't matter whether you are very good in data analytics or data science, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And the hard skills are relevant to the extent that you are clear what kind of profession you're going to go to, which profession. And so pick up those hard skills that you see where the profession is going, where the job roles are going. Learn that early and be prepared to take on a job where you may have to start from the bottom because you want to build deep skills. And you have to really ask yourself that you like these hard skills. You don't want to do it because you want to get a job, because after a while it gets very, it's a drain on you. But if you are passionate, nothing will stop you from building hard skills. If you are really good in data, if you're good in algorithms, in artificial intelligence, those will put you on a strong footing, because between someone who has soft skills or hard skills, maybe I'll choose the one with the soft skill or hard skill. But if you've got soft skills and hard skills, employers will go after you. Because once you have that hard skills, you develop what I'll call concepts, ideas about what technology can do. And once you have those concepts in your head, whether, blockchain as a concept, data as a concept, big data, analytics, algorithm, these are all concepts. And when you then add it with your skills, you can explain ideas, you can convince people of your ideas and get things going. I think that's ultimately what will be the most fulfilling in your career, which is that if you have an idea and you can execute it, I'm sure our leaders here in this room have got ideas, and the ideas are informed by their understanding of technology and their understanding of the concepts, and they play with those concepts, and then it turns up into an idea, and they have the soft skills to get people to support them and move forward. And that, I think, is what ultimately you get to when you have both successfully. So is there a sequence? Not really. Soft skills will always be relevant, but hard skills, look at which profession or which industry you want to go to, and start building those skills now.
Yeah, that's a very good talk from Mr. Xie. So my background was from renewable energy business. And then in my country, nobody has done before, like in 2012, 2014 and 15. Nobody has done renewable energy before. So our country at the time was not privatized and controlled by the government. So we have to make a proposal to the government to start for the renewable energy. It's a good thing that they make the tender process in 2020 this year. We just started for 1 gigawatt. So this is my one of the field that I am in right now. So another industry that I'm doing is in telecommunication. Telecom, right? I do some services, the installation stuff, and because my background is from trading. My dad's background, actually, my dad is a trader. He trades a lot. When I come back from Singapore, study from Singapore, I went back to my hometown and changed the mindset. I want to do like more in infrastructure. So in telecom business, right? Telecom market, everything is already controlled remotely. But when you do installation or chain maintenance or operation, something you need manpower to get on it. So it's like combining soft skill and hard skill together. So I am thinking over the past year, I'm thinking about like, okay, I am going to launch a new company in end of this year. The name will be the Antigma, who will be start producing, or maybe we can say like assembling or manufacturing these smart things, because there is nothing in my country before. Nobody has done it before. So maybe next year I will be start producing things like IoT stuff and try to get people interest and get on board. Because in my country, right, e-commerce is Facebook. You see, e-commerce is Facebook, not going to the website or ordering something, not to the application. It's about Facebook. We need to expand this market size. So this is what I see in a few decades in my country, in my hometown right now. So we have to overcome all those things. What is e-commerce? The real e-commerce. How we gonna deal for this? This is a very important thing. So we will still need a hard skill and a soft skill together, combined. If you don't know how to write a Python or whatever Java or whatever thing, no worries. Partner with someone, do the job, get it done. As long as you are soft skill, you think in the other way, make you different, make a product differentiation, and it will be good enough for you to survive in the market for like another 10 years. But after next 20 years or something, I don't know, don't ask me.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
just
could
to
yeah.
add a bit on that. I think what I say, you don't really like pick one or the other, because I guess soft skills itself is evolving. So for example, after you graduate from the school, then the soft skills that you need to get is teamwork, right? So how good you are in working with other team, different culture, different functions, people from different functions things differently typically, and also your engagement with your customers if you're on sales and everything. So once you move up the ladder, obviously you need to reinforce your soft skills by the management, leadership, and ultimately, of course, the leadership as an example. However, along those lines, the initiative and also eagerness to learn something new and being empathetical to your customers, because I mean in a market like Indonesia, um, I mean people probably from the outside look at us as one market, but when you zoom in, they're so different. Like even between provinces, the and different communities, the habit is so different. The way to tap on those markets is so different. That's why we have a lot of community-based a startup as well that doesn't go full scale, but through different communities, D2C type of startups. So I think once you go to harness your soft skills, and obviously you need to tap on your hard skill, as Mr. said it, depending on the profession that you want to take on. And I guess ultimately the key differentiator once you move up the rank is really the soft skills part of it.
Anyone else has got any inputs or thoughts to share?
Actually, I can add on something. I couldn't agree more with all you guys who said just now, but I think technology-wise had been very helpful for us to improve our soft skill as well. Actually, we understand more regarding our stakeholders using all this technology. And in the past, we need to find the right audience for our right product, and it will be very difficult for us to do so, to matching up the right person in the market. But currently, with all this help of the technology, actually is simplified the process and make it more efficient and fast and also relevant in the market. I think is we don't need to understand the whole concept or whole the process behind every technology, but at least we need to know where to get the right tools to help us to escalate our own hard skill or soft skill in our career path. This is more important from my point of view. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Well, we have about another 15 minutes or so left of this year's session. So again, welcome more questions to come in. Instead, my team and I have been receiving non-stop messages on our mobiles. I think a lot of you all are messaging us individually rather than posing it in the Q&A segment. Please don't feel shy. I think this is the new age going forward already. There's only so much a mobile phone can receive. So why not share your questions and thoughts with everybody in this live platform? There's one more question that I want to pose to all the panelists here, which is about how as going forward in Industry 5.0, right? What exactly, do you think that are the jobs or in particular that graduates, from SIM would do very well in, because I mean, the whole evening we've been hearing a lot of very affirmative, and insightful thoughts, from Mr. Sia and also our alumni leaders of how, every one of us here is actually equipped, because we have soft skills already. It's just that if we can, layer it on with some digital competencies, that would be all the more a bonus. But really going forward, where do you think, perhaps, you can share from your own country perspective, right? Singapore, in Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, China, which industries or jobs do you think will be, so-called your sunrise ones, and which means there holds a great number of jobs that all our graduates are all pining and yearning for very, very much?
Can I chip in first for?
Sure, Jay, please go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead.
Just very, very quickly, we all talking about, I think even for today, it's very difficult to predict what kind of industry will be needing manpower the most, because I live in Shenzhen. That's where Tencent, Huawei headquarters are, high-tech companies. One of the few of largest high-tech companies in China. They have tons of people. They need tons of talented people, engineers, programmers, whatnot, and they work 7 days a week. And whenever you go to their headquarters at 10 p.m. at night, 11 p.m. at night, all the windows are lit up. They're hard workers. They need many graduates. But when we talk about looking for a job in China market, so if you're an SIM student right now, you're about to graduate, then when you come back to China, when you're looking for a job, what kind of aspects do you look at? You come back, you say, oh, I just graduated from SIM and state-of-the-art university, hire me. But what kind of channels do you use? Of course, you can post a resume online, but as far as I know, from my personal experience and from what I see, probably a good recommendation, which involves good personal relationship, will give you the highest chance of landing a desired job in any company, which requires good relationship, good communication skills, and it's that soft skill. Because from SIM, your hard skills are given. That's the threshold. You already meet that. So in order to find a job, of course, the hard skills that are needed most in today's job market, you have to have it. On top of that, you have to be resourceful. You have to have a good communication skills, leverage on all the resources that you have to go out there and be brave, to communicate, to get that job that you really want. I think this is really important. No matter industry 5.0, 4.0, 6.0, you will need that human spirit and the will to fight your way through to get that good job. You will need that perseverance pretty much. And thanks.
This is a small sharing from my.
So after the graduation, like things get. Sorry, how you want to talk? It's okay. You talk first.
Yeah, you go first. You go first.
Okay, thank you. It's a quick one. What I want to share with something is like, after you graduated, right, things get changed. Suddenly or eventually it's changed. It's changed a lot, and then you can even recognize by yourself. This is what I experienced before until now. So this graduation, right? It's not putting into the fairy pond and then get it back. You know everything. It's not like this. It's giving you the way how to learn, like lifelong learning. The 3 L things. It's true. You have to study or learn or search, make a research or whatever you passion on it. So this is what I experienced on it. After the graduation, right? People think that okay, there was some motivation sessions like going for the entrepreneurs, not for the employees. I don't believe that things, what I see is if you want to be an employee, just a normal employee, going to the office 9 to 5, get back to your home and do your stuff, that is okay. I know that it's wrong. This is your passion. This is your style. This is your choice. You have a right to choose like yourself what you want to do. This is what I learned. So don't make it, pressure on it. Okay, I have to start my own business or something like this. Until you find one, you don't need to sleep. This is what I give in the suggestions for this. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
You want to go next? Hi.
Yep. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So I think one of our fellow panelists has already answered the questions. But one thing I would like to share is more like a small tips. Well, we are in the market where it's all about demand and supply, right? So yeah, a new graduate student from SIM in Singapore. So you'll be probably going to work within the South Asia region, and you're going to competing with tons of other university who graduate the same things like you do. So from my observations, if you were looking for like a tech company, there's a high chance that there's another person graduate from other university who have the same skill set. So therefore, let's look for a skill set that is not being taught in the university in this region, and then that's where and then that kind of industry is where people are needing the people the most. But there is no proper education on this industry. So basically, what I'm referring is I would like to invite more SIM graduate and SM students to study more about blockchains and cryptocurrency industry. If you're living in Singapore, you know that next year DBS will officially announce a digital exchange where corporate company can buy Bitcoins and other things. So this is your DBS, right? But right now, there's no proper education on what is blockchains, how the cryptocurrency gonna work, what is decentralized finance. So if you equip yourself with these skill set, together with your hard skill with from SIM, there's a tons of company that are looking for people who understanding this. So if you are an accountant who know about crypto tax, you are good to go. If you are an entrepreneur who understand how decentralized finance work, there's a ton of company who really want to hire you. So this also answer another questions on the industrial 5.0 on financial service. But the future will become decentralized finance, where you can do a cross-border travel system, something like Alami is doing, like peer-to-peer lending. It will become big. Yeah, thank you.
To answer this question from Malaysia context, I would like to share like currently Malaysia is still undergoing Industrial 4.0, because if you follow our government website, actually our government have been started late. We only take consideration to follow up this Industrial 4.0 in 2016. Actually, we started our Industrial 4.0 technology park in Putrajaya in 2017. So basically, currently Malaysia ecosystem of this Industrial 4.0 is just in a very early stage of it. So from my point of view, I think if really for SIM new graduates who want to look for a job in Malaysia, I think training and consultancy is a very good business in these coming years, because I've come across a few self-developed software company like Financial, which they develop a software to take over normal account clerk work, and it's free. And they also provide business consultancy as a add value services beyond this software. So for us, which are professional business graduates, I think this is a very good start to get into the Industrial 4.0. And also currently in Malaysia, which we have a lot of SMEs which are using all these technologies, and they don't have the adequate education on how to embark on this industrial 4.0 journey, and which I think is a very good how to say, it's a very good future for the new graduates in the next 5 to 10 years. If you have this area of knowledge and you can embark on all these technology company to give on add value services.
Maybe I'd like to. Sorry,
Go
Leonard.
ahead, Ima.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so from Indonesia's perspective, I think some of the sectors that would require a lot of manpower going forward is obviously on the medical and also for logistics as well. We're seeing a lot of new startups in medical, logistics, and also education, edtech. I guess this is also in line with the government objective to push on that sectors related to the infrastructure, the real infrastructure, and also for the soft infrastructure, so-called as well. And obviously, fintech would transform a lot. And I think my best guess is in 2021, there's going to be a very crowded space for fintech when it comes to the digital banking end. We're seeing a lot of the incumbents coming up with new front ends, the digital bank windows are called, trying to compete with the potential independent challenger bank. So there's a lot of play buying existing small banks, which is a little bit defunct and turn it into digital only bank. And we're seeing that a couple of times. Alami as the leading Sharia fintech in Indonesia, we also plan to go that route. We're in the middle of acquiring a small Sharia bank right now and want to turn it into a digital Sharia bank in 2021. So I think in terms of fintech, there's going to be a lot of needs when it comes to the banking functions, but then we need people that have understanding about how the digital world, the best practice in digital world. So combining the understanding from startup when it comes to design thinking, when it comes to Scrum and Sprint and all of this jargon, understanding of those processes, and also understanding about credit, understanding about KYC, best practice, and risk. So this combination will be very crucial going forward when it comes to the banking sector in Indonesia. We're seeing also BCA is acquiring 2 small banks and trying to turn it into digital BCA. Yeah, competition will be very, very hectic starting next year onwards.
Thank you, Dima. Well, with competition, that means there'll be new creations, there'll be jobs, and that's where there'll be opportunities for all of our graduating students and our alumni in the midst.
And also Indonesia just issued an omnibus law. So it create an ease for foreign workers to come to Indonesia to work. So hopefully by that, there's going to be a transfer of knowledge over time to the local Indonesians as well. And in the meantime, foreign talents can easily come to work in Indonesia.
Thank you, Dima. I was sending my resume offline quietly. I'm just kidding. but ladies and gentlemen, I think this has been an insightful evening. We have covered quite a number of key points with regards to Industry 5.0. Industry 5.0 is definitely not only about digital transformation. It's really not only about digital competencies, but the importance also of equipping every one of ourselves with soft skills, because as I like to quote Mr. Sia, who said earlier, soft skills will always be relevant to anyone in any industry, no matter which level of the corporate ladder you are at. On that note also, I think regardless of whether you are MNC, you are a SME, or even you are a government-linked company or state enterprise, I think digitalization has become a necessity. All right, everyone, all right, is into how to leverage on technologies, be it artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, what have you not. Why not to kill jobs, but to create more value in the entire supply chain to uplift the entire economy of things. And if each nation is able to do that, then it means at a global level that the global economy is also going to be uplifted, you know, and in the process, create more value-added jobs that definitely, you know, all of us will have a place in, and which I think will pay much more. Maybe even do less, but you earn more. That's not a bad deal, is it not? And also, I think tonight our panelists have also shared with us the importance, all right, of collaborative systems, okay, in the industrial revolution for 5.0, whereby it's really about how we, all of us, as human managers, as human executives, as human business leaders, all right, we actually harness, you know, technologies. How do we get our workforces, our staff, all right, ready with the skills, right, to help the company, to help economy, you know, do well in this era of industry 5.0. And I think to the perennial question, where the jobs are, I think the consensus is quite clear. Nobody can predict where the jobs are, not least from what I see from the job of the future survey 2020 by the World Economic Forum. Maybe I'll drop them an email and ask them to do that for 2021. Okay, but really, Industry 5.0 is already, you know, dawned upon us. It is really where all of us, when we enter the workforce, or those of us already in it, we can look at, you know, hyper customization, all right, to deliver, all right, customized products, services of value to our consumers, regardless of our industry that we are in. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in showing our appreciation to our panelists tonight. Mr. Seah Chin Siong, President, CEO, SIM, Mr. Jay Chang, right? Mr. Leonard Lim, Mr. Dima Jani, Mr. Hai Ho, Mr. Ten Min Woo. Before you go, all right, as always, we want to hear what you thought of tonight's CEO dialogue. All right, please, can I ask you to just take a bit of your time, right? Scan the QR code that will appear on your screen now, and let us know, all right, what topics you'd like us to cover going forward. And whilst you are doing that, you know, it is also my pleasure to inform you that there are, you know, quite a number of existing programs that we welcome graduating students or even alumni amongst you to join in already. In the earlier slides, or rather in the earlier advertisements before this dialogue, you have seen we have our Project Protege International and Alumni Edition. Right, regardless whether you are a working alumni or an international student, right? We have a mentor for you. So sign on with us. Also, coming up before Christmas, okay, in the week of 1st to 4th December, stay tuned to our final alumni virtual learning series for the year. We have lined up 5 webinars, all right? They are only 45 minutes long, but we have brought in experienced trainers and industry speakers to help you along this journey of digitalization and transformation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have tonight. This has been SIM CEO Dialogue 2020 on behalf of the SIM Alumni Engagement Office here and all of us in SIM Singapore. Thank you. Good night. See you next year.